Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on Global Television. I am Judith Peters. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Sunday afternoon returned to Abuja from Lagos, 13 days after he left to attend the summit on new global financing pact in Paris, the capital of France. The president had left Abuja on June 20 to participate in the summit that held in the French capital, from where he left for London on a private visit. Upon his return to Nigeria, he made a stop Lagos on Tuesday, June 27, to observe the Eid al-Kabir festival in his home at Ikoyi. While away, Tinubu had participated in the new global financing pact signing in Paris. He also held various other diplomatic meetings on the sidelines of the main event. While in Paris, he met with the French President Emmanuel Macron at the Élysée, or Swiss President Alain Berset at Palais Bernade, President of the Benin Republic, Patrice Talon, Director General of World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, President of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina. In the meantime, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, while in Lagos, had played host to the Republic of Guinea-Bissau counterpart, President Umaru Sissoko Embalo, to Special Advisor to the President Tinubu on Special Duties, Communications and Strategy, Dele Alake, made this note to State House correspondent following President Embalo's visit to President Tinubu at his Ikoyi, Lagos residence. This was disclosed in a statement signed by Abiodun Oladunju Joye, the Director of Information in the Office of the President at the State House. Alake told reporters that while the visit was a private nature, President Embalo took the opportunity to express his solidarity and willingness to cooperate with Nigeria under the leadership of President Tinubu. He also highlighted that the visit allowed Embalo, who is currently the chairman of ECOWAS, Authority of Heads of State and Government, the reinforcement fraternal relations between the two countries.
The president of Guinea-Bissau came to visit the president of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but it was strictly a private visit. It wasn't anything official at all. It was a private visit, and we had to be on hand to receive him. And our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, received him very warmly. And the president of Guinea-Bissau himself exuded some enthusiasm and warmth, which is uncharacteristic, or untypical of what we saw in the past. He was very forthcoming, he was very expressive. He expressed his solidarity with the president of Nigeria and his readiness to cooperate with Nigeria at all times and with our current president. And he commended the laudable and policy initiatives of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the last 1 month. And he said that everybody in the world, in the international community, have been commending his giant strides. So he came to pay his solidarity and to pay courtesy call, as it were, and to bond with him as a brother African head of state in the first instance, and in particular as a brother West African ECOWAS head of state, in general. And they also spoke about the forthcoming ECOWAS meeting, which is very imminent, and spoke on other areas of cooperation. But generally speaking, it was a very strictly private visit.
Climate change was negatively affecting lives by destroying lives and property development, peace and security all over the world, and by adopting greener policies and embracing a culture of sustainability, Parliament can help in addressing the crisis caused by climate change. He assured Nigerians and the key stakeholders on climate change issues that as the Parliament settles down, they would prioritize climate change issues. Residents of Trademore Estate in Lugbe area of Abuja on Monday shut their gates in protest against the planned demolition of structures in the estate by officials of the Federal Capital Development Authority, FCDA. This comes after the state was declared a disaster zone following flash floods that submerged houses and vehicles on the estate over a week ago. The residents are demanding that the government should improve the waterways in order to tackle the persistent flooding in the area, as opposed to demolition buildings. However, the Federal Capital Territory Authority has stated that buildings on waterways is the estate and other areas will be demolished. Enugu State Government has disclosed all task forces of commercial tricycle, popularly known as keke, in the state till further notice. The Permanent Secretary in the State Ministry of Transport, Mr. Ogbonna Idike, said this in Enugu after a meeting with the executives and members of the Commercial Tricycles Union. The meeting was conducted by the Ministry of the sidelines of the peaceful protest held by some members of the Tricycles Union on Friday over harassment and extortion by Tricycle Task Force members. Operating within the Enugu metropolis, Idike said the dissolution affected both legally and illegally constituted task forces for tricycles operators, adding that the dissolution was with immediate effect because the ministry before now was not aware of this negative and inhuman development. He therefore said that the state government through the ministry will streamline and sanction all transport union task force to conform to best practices and standard, as well as ensure that hoodlums and thugs do not hijack such exercises. The Defense Headquarters had given top officers who are seniors to the newly appointed service chiefs till Monday to voluntarily retire from service. The order, which was contained in a memo dated June 26 and signed by Major General Y. Yahaya on behalf of the Chief of Defense Staff, was directed to General Brigadiers General, Air Vice Marshal, and Rear Admirals in the Nigeria Army Air Force and Nigeria Navy, who are senior to the new service chiefs. The retirement of the senior officers across the three services was in line with the long-standing military tradition that officers who were senior to the service chiefs would be retired. Tinubu had announced the immediate retirement of General Lucky Irabo, who was the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Gambo, and Air Marshal Oludayo Amao, the Chief of Air Staff, and replaced them with new military chiefs. However, the DHO in the memo with references number DHO 15 planned 801-13 directed all officers with a seniority or on commission above that of Nigerian Defense Academy regularly course. 36 to submit their application for voluntary retirement from service with immediate effect. The spokesperson for the Nigeria Air Force, Commodore Ayodele Famuyiwa, declined comment, saying he is handing over to his successor on Monday. The Army War College Nigeria has witnessed a change in leadership as Major General Ishaya Buba Minor assumed the commandment of the college, taking over from Major General Bamidele Ali Alabi, who has been posted to 1 Division Nigerian Army, Kaduna as General Officer Commanding. GOC, the transition ceremony was held at the college conference room of the institution on 30 June 2023. In his farewell remarks, ongoing Commandant Major General Alabi expressed his heartfelt appreciation to the entire staff of AWCN for their unwavering support during his tenure. He acknowledged their collective efforts in elevating the college standard and emphasized the importance of extending the same support and cooperation to the new Commandant Major General Alabi reflected on the remarkable accomplishments achieved under his leadership and attributed them to dedication and commitment of the college staff. He urged them to continue striving for excellence and to offer their utmost support to the new commandant as he taxed on his reign of the AWCN. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has rejected the Co-Curriculum Minimum Academic Standard, CCMAS, prepared by the National Universities Commission. The union said it was nightmarish, a threat to quality university education, and an erosion of powers of the University Senate in Nigeria. University's national president of ASU, Emmanuel Osedeko, said it was inexplicable that NUC pre-packed 70% CCMAS content were being imposed on the Nigeria university system, adding that university senates, who are statutorily responsible for academic program development, were left to work on only 30%. Osedeke said that there were growing concerns about the numerous shortcomings and gross inadequacies of the CCMAS document, and although many universities were dissatisfied, they were shying away from making public comment on CCMAS. You're watching Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live on StarTimes channels 276 from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Do well to follow us across all social media platforms at Global TV NG. When the Midday News returns, Ogun State embarks on billion naira grants for 1,500 business owners. We'll be back with these and more stories right after the break. Please stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. Ogun State government says it has embarked on billion naira for about 1,500 business owners across the 20 local governments of the state as operational grant for micro and small-scale enterprises in the state. The 1 billion naira grant disbursement, which is part of the economic stimulus by the Governor Dapo Abiodun in conjunction with the federal government and World Bank, started last week with the screening and assessment of over 1,500 operators of micro, small and medium-scale enterprise MSMEs. Selected from the 20 councils speaking in Abeokuta, the state capital, during the enumeration and vetting of the beneficiaries, Dapo Okunbadejo, the governor's chief economic advisor, said it was to caution the negative effect of COVID-19 on the MSMEs. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has urged Nigerians President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to urgently publish details of spending of about 400 billion naira so far saved as a result of the removal of subsidy on premium motor spirits, popularly known as petrol. It was urged by SERAP to provide details of the plans on how subsequent savings from the removal of petroleum subsidy would be used, including specific projects on which the funds would be spent, and the mechanism that has been put in place to ensure that any such savings are not embezzled, misappropriately, or diverted into private pockets. According to reports, the federal government had saved 400 billion naira in the 4 weeks following the implementation of the policy on the removal of petrol subsidy payment. Seraph Deputy Director Kolawole Oludare in a statement said the government has a legal responsibility to ensure that the savings from the removal of subsidy on petrol are spent solely for the benefit of the 137 million poor Nigerians who are bearing the brunt of the removal, and Nigerians have the right to know how the savings are spent. Pakistan, currently facing an economic crisis, will become the fourth largest borrower from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, receiving a $3 billion loan over the next 9 months. This will move Pakistan up from 5th place. The country's economy has been struggling for years, resulting in high inflation and difficulties for the population. The loan will be helped address the balance of payment crisis caused by the war in Ukraine and domestic changes. Debt-strapped Pakistan will become the fourth largest IMF borrower in the world after receiving a fresh loan of $3 billion in the next 9 months under the standby arrangement reached with the global lender. Pakistan, which is facing its worst economic crisis since independence from Britain in 1947, was on March 31, 2023, ranked 5th in the list of countries with the highest borrowing from the multilateral institution. However, Pakistan will move to the 4th place in this list when it receives another $3 billion in the next 9 months under the standby arrangement made with the Washington-based global lender on Thursday. World record holder Tobi Amusan has stormed to her first Diamond League win this season in Stockholm on Sunday in what was her second Diamond League race of the season. She clocked 12.52s to win the race on the slippery track. Before her first win of the season on Sunday, the hurdler has improved steadily in the current athletics season, lowering her time significantly in the space of 3 weeks. The Nigerian ran a season best of 12:47 seconds and placed 3rd behind Olympic champion Jasmine Camacho-Quinn and American Sia Jones on the Ostrava Golden Spike meet last week. The world champion is confident of improving her form ahead of this year's national trials in Benin City to select Nigeria's representative to the World Championship in the Budapest, Hungary in August. That's it for the midday news on Global Television, which came from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We are on StarTime channel 276, and you can follow us across our social media platform at Global TV NG. Thank you so much for watching. I am Judith Peters. Good afternoon.